really is great to be here and great to be early part of camp, first day with pads on, which is always good to see. Players are, transitioning into the more physical time of the year. Gone through OTAs and beginning of training camp, and had a first high school practice Friday night, Saturday night, I should say. Next coming Friday night will be at the stadium. But players are in great shape, and coaching staff's in great shape, and we're ready to go. And we have a very competitive schedule, and playing a lot of great teams, and we'll certainly have to be at our best to be able to achieve the records that we hope to achieve this coming year. So with that, I'll just open it up, and you guys, gals, ask any questions you'd like.
Yeah, Arthur.
You are getting the first question.
Yes. How did you receive the news this morning about the season ticket sales being completely gone at a high level?
Well, it's great. I mean, obviously, it's a tribute to our fans. I've been blessed, really, Atlanta's been blessed having a great fan base since I acquired the team in 2001, 2002 being our first season, and to see us come back to that position that we're in for many years of being sold out is it's a tribute to our fans, a tribute to the franchise, to the stadium itself. We put a lot of effort into making sure the stadium, which is now on its 7th year, is kept in pristine shape, current in all ways. Made changes to seating, suite areas, lounge areas, loge areas, a variety of things. So we want to make sure we have a competitive product on the field for our fans to enjoy, and we think we will. So it's great. It's great news. Yeah.
Also, we haven't talked to you since the tampering case was settled and the drafting of.
That's your second question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second
Are you going to get all the questions or what?
No, I just got a couple here, and we'll share with the group.
Okay.
Moving forward.
Yes, sir. Second question.
We didn't talk to you after the tampering case was settled, or after Michael Penix was drafted after Kirk Cousins signed.
Okay.
Help us with how those things were squared up.
Well, obviously they're not connected. So the tampering situation, we were advised by the NFL that we didn't dot every I and cross every T, and despite our attempt to do that, and there were a couple of procedural mistakes, I think, that were made by the organization, and we fully cooperated with the NFL, as we always do in any sort of investigation. They found there were certain things were deficient in the way we handled things with Kirk, and so we've addressed those things internally. You find something that's a problem, you fix it, make sure it doesn't happen again, and that's our attitude about it. The NFL is certainly doing their job and doing it well. The question about Penix is what specifically?
The league was kind of caught off guard. You just signed Kurt and paid him a pretty good salary, and then you was 8th pick when the so-called draft people thought you might have gone defensive line there.
Right. Yeah. So thank heavens we don't always listen to the league, and thank heavens we don't always listen to the media, and thank heavens we don't always do what everybody else thinks we should be doing. We're actually very independent thinkers, and the decision about Penix in this case at number 8, I'll go back a little bit and say that we had made it clear to Kirk and others that we probably were going to draft a quarterback during this draft. As it turned out, that Michael Penix, for our coaching staff and our personnel department, graded extraordinarily high. They viewed him as a tremendous player. And that, we've been through a situation post Matt Ryan, when we're seeing that movie, when we didn't have a franchise quarterback, and we didn't want to repeat that again. I mean, I certainly didn't, and I'm super sensitive to all forms of succession planning after 60-odd years of business. In any business, that's critical, and at the key position, the quarterback position in the NFL, that's very important. So just listening to our coaching staff and our personnel department, they really made a decision. Michael was going to be available at number 8. They saw an extraordinary talent. Our Kirk Cousins is our franchise quarterback, is our starting quarterback, and he seems to be doing great from a medical standpoint. His attitude, his leadership, culturally, personally, with our players, the coaching staff has been nothing short of outstanding. So we couldn't be happier with that situation. But I know age does kind of creep up. I can speak to myself personally on that a little bit. I know what that means, and Kirk will be 36 at the start of the season, and so we hope and pray he's got 3 to 4 great years in front of him. Maybe beyond that, who knows? But we also know that at some point there will be a point that we'll need a transition. We want to make sure we do that smoothly, and so we didn't necessarily use the Green Bay model, although what Green Bay did was very interesting. When they signed Jordan Love, whatever year it was, I can't remember offhand now, but there was a lot of the same discussion. Aaron was their quarterback and obviously a Hall of Fame player, and so, they made a decision at that time to think about the future and plan for their future, not knowing what was going to happen with Aaron, longer term, and he was getting a little bit older as well. Today, you couldn't find a phone number in the zip code of Green Bay where they aren't going to, click their heels and jump for joy that they don't have Jordan Love. So when they just signed him to one of the biggest contracts for quarterback in the history of the NFL and currently in the NFL. So, we're doing our advanced planning and doing our advanced thinking, and so that's what fans expect of us to do. Maybe not right at the moment. At the moment, they may have liked a different player, but at some point down the road, they'll want to know that we can have a smooth transition at that very critical position for the Atlanta Falcons and the National Football League.
Mr. Blank, you said at the start of that answer that you had informed Kirk that you were probably going to draft a quarterback in this draft.
Did I inform? No, I didn't inform Kirk.
You said he was informed.
Yes, he was. Yes.
At what point? Because our understanding was he was not informed until 5 minutes before the pick. Are you saying that conversation happened earlier?
Yes, I know that Raheem, at a minimum, I think Terry as well, during the contract discussions, probably talking about the room, I wasn't there, but they advised him that, we obviously would potentially pick a quarterback to groom and develop along the way. And so I think he was surprised, as many people were, and frankly we were, in the sense that our plan was not to pick a quarterback at number 8, but with the grades that our personnel department and coaching staff had on Penix and being available at number 8, it turned out that that's what happened. So I do know this, that as we approached number 8, they made every effort to reach out directly to Kirk and speak to him, etc. They weren't successful at the moment. They were later that evening, and obviously there's been a number of conversations since then. So, again, I think the important thing is that Kirk, I think, understands that now. Michael understands it. They share a suite. They've been great suite mates. They've been great on the field together, and Michael is learning a lot from Kirk, and he will for a long period of time. And most importantly, Kirk is healthy and providing us with the kind of leadership and the kind of play that we can see so far that we invested in him. So,
in general, on those draft conversations like that, when do you want to be involved? When do you get involved? Like, how closely do you follow it? At what
I follow it very closely. I mean, I'm involved in the sharing of the strategy behind our draft approach. We go through a number of scenarios. I'm in a number of pre-draft meetings where they're screening potentially who we might pick and what position and why. Then there's a bunch of options. Obviously, we're one of 31 teams, 32 teams picking, so anything can happen. And during that night, it did fall our way in terms of Michael. But it's a decision made by the coaching staff and by the personnel department, and that's the way it should be. But I'm aware of everything.
Do they clear it by you? Do you want them to clear it by you?
I'm aware. Okay, I'm being real clear on my words now. So they make me fully aware. You don't have to clear it with me. You just have to make me aware of what's going on. So I don't like surprises. They know that, but it's not up for me to make those decisions. It's up for them to make those decisions and me to understand the logic behind it. So I'm very sensitive on behalf of our fan base, everybody connected to the franchise, on not having a period of time post-Kirk Cousins, however long that may be, God willing, a long period of time, to having a gap again between having that kind of franchise quarterback and being in a spin cycle of a washing machine and not being able to get out with not having that player.
Arthur, based on
Yeah.
your.
You talked
Yes, sir.
about earlier about your the fans being excited about the season with
Yeah.
the sellouts. But can you talk about how excited you are
Yeah.
about this upcoming season?
Yeah, I'm always, look, if you talk to 31 other owners, they're all excited. It's the beauty of one of the beauties of the NFL is that, during these months of training camp and you get into preseason, fans across the United States and now actually throughout the world, but certainly the United States, minimally, are very excited about their teams. So I think, objectively, I think if you look at our team, our roster, the improvements we made in free agency, the quality of the draft picks, the quality of the aging of our draft picks and free agents over the last several years. I think when I look at our defensive line, when I look at our skill positions on offense, I look at our quarterback room now, I look at our young defensive players. So I'm excited about, for all the right reasons, about where we are. But we have a very competitive schedule. Going through it just last night again, and the way we're starting out and throughout the year. I mean, we have to compete in our own division. We got to win our own division. We got to be able to compete with other teams in the NFC, and hopefully move on and play in the playoffs and do that successfully. But there's a lot that can slip between the cup and the lip, and our guys are pumped and ready to go, and coaches are. Raheem's done a great job. Jimmy Lake's done a great job. Zach Robinson, Maurice. I mean, we've got great coordinators and we got great coaching staff behind them. Raheem's built, I think, an outstanding coaching staff that has some depth to it. So I have reason to be enthused and excited beyond just being the owner for the fans. And that's how I consider myself. I represent the fans. So every decision I always make, it's always in the context through the lens of what's the best thing for our fans today, tomorrow, but also beyond tomorrow. And it's one thing as an owner, you've got to think not just about today and tomorrow, but really beyond tomorrow. So hence you end up thinking about, well, what happens? You don't end up with a gap in your quarterback play in the future. So
You listen to the fans, they expect Arthur to be in the playoffs. Do you?
our fans fully do, and my hope was that we'll be in the playoffs. I mean, I have every reason to think that we're going to be very competitive this year, but, I mean, we got to play the schedule, we got to play the teams, and we got to make it happen. So, am I optimistic? I'm definitely optimistic. Certainly more optimistic than I've been in several years, and have reason to feel that way. But again, every game is a battle. Every game is the other team has got a lot of great talent, very good coaching, had lots of reasons to compete against. So first game out of the box, we're playing against our old coach, so with creative mind and some creative talent. So it's going to be an interesting season in all ways.
Grady Jarrett is going into year 10
Yeah.
with this organization. I'm just curious if you could surmise what he's meant over a decade to this franchise.
Well, it was interesting. When we drafted Grady, I'm trying to think it was fifth or sixth round. Fifth round, thank you. So, he was captain of the team at Clemson. So I'd say that, the attributes that he had at Clemson being, a great player there and a great leader there, all of those have carried over here. And I would say even have multiplied. There's no question he's an outstanding athlete. He's an outstanding leader. There's probably nobody on the team that works harder than him. There's probably nobody on the team that's a better role model in every aspect that we ask our Falcons to be, not just on the field, but off the field. His community work is incredible. Just told me a few minutes ago he's getting married next year, so I'm excited for that. And but he's just he's one of these folks you spend time with during your life and you never forget him. So we're blessed to have Grady and provide the kind of leadership that he will bring to us and does bring to us.
Earlier this morning during Coach Marsh's press conference,
I'm
he
sorry.
sang your praises. He was saying thank you for all of the tools that you put in place to allow them to do what they do on the field. Your thoughts on some of the things that the jumbotrons outside, the new weight room, all the things.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, it's a tribute to two things. One, it's a recognition of one of our key values. So, it is either the best or nothing. So we committed to doing that in every way and committed to listening to our players, understanding our players, respecting our players, and responding to our players. So the additions that you see in the building this year, in the weight room, and I just had a chance to tour it, and the cafeteria area and their equipment areas, et cetera, are incredible. I mean, it's a tribute to our staff here to have pulled it off in such a short period of time. I do apologize to fans. We didn't have training camp back here this year, and I told our staff already, for next year they can expect us to double up on open camps for our fans. But in any event, I mean, that's what we're about, is that we want to understand what our players need and want and what necessitates putting them in the best position so they can train properly and perform properly. And we've been happy to be able to do it in a first-class way. If you all haven't had a chance to tour some of this stuff, you ought to get one of our staff to take you around. It's very impressive. It's neat.
When Raheem was introduced as coach, you also announced a administrative change in terms of the coach and GM reporting directly to you. How has that gone, and what has it been like for you to have those communications with Raheem? Is he as upbeat and effusive with you as we see on a daily basis?
I've got a great relationship with Terry and Raheem both. I've had a great relationship with Terry and Arthur in the past. We've always had that direct communication, and that will continue. Much like I answered the question earlier about Michael and the decision to draft him, the 8th slot this year, is that they keep me aware. We think about strategy development, think about what we're doing long term, et cetera, and we're of a like mind. It's the reason we selected Raheem as our coach. He not only can think about winning this year, but think about what the key decisions they have to make sure we have a competitive roster and a great coaching staff for years to come. So, my respect for them, my communication with them is outstanding, is excellent, as it is with Jimmy, as it is with Zach Robinson and Maurice.
Can you say, just to follow up, are those daily communications that you have?
Yeah, I would say during the season, much more so, and obviously during the summer they were away, I was away, so I try to give them a little space, time and space to kind of connect with their families and friends and loved ones, and they come back with the energy they need for a long season.
I'm curious, you're going in, I think it's year 23 as owner of the Falcons, and as I know, fans are hungering for a world championship, a Super Bowl title. For you, what are your thoughts and feelings about not having been able to clear that hurdle yet?
Well, I think, we've had, for many years, we had a very, very competitive team and had, year after year winning records, et cetera. So we've had, 6 years where our record has not been what we wanted it to be, Ken, as you know, and there's been reasons for it, but, the reasons are the reasons, and we have to deal with those reasons and make sure we eliminate them, and I think we've done some of that. Essentially, I look at a doubling down on the quarterback position because we realized, how penal that was post-Matt, what happened to our ability to win on a consistent basis. I feel good about where we are. And I look back in the periods of 22 years that I'm incredibly proud of, the amount of winning we've done over that period of time. The last 6 years have not been up to my standards and up to the, standards of the building and our fans. Yet, inside the stadium, it's been a great experience. It's a blessing to our fans that we've been voted, by their actions and our support is, number one place in the NFL to watch and experience a game, et cetera. And that's not our vote, that's their vote. So we've still made it a great experience for them, but we got to perform better on the field and earn that commitment that they're giving us, they're showing us now.
Kind of a big picture question, in 2 or 3 years, Kirk's, average year salary could look at a bargain with some maybe pushing 60, 70, something million a year. Did you think, in your experience within your cloud amongst the owners, that the quarterback salary should be kind of a side percentage of a cap as opposed to included in your overall?
Yeah, there's been some discussion of that. What I do know is this, and I don't know how that'll shake out, that has been discussed in kind of loose terms. But the partnership between the players, the owners, franchises, and our fans is a beautiful partnership. Essentially, our players, they earn 50% of the total revenue for the National Football League. They fully deserve it. They earn it, et cetera. It's attributed and distributed, I should say, based on the market today. And obviously, you've got now 8 quarterbacks that are being paid on average over $50 million a year. Last couple of signings, last few days, including Jordan Love, who I mentioned earlier. So, at that position, everybody sees the importance of it in this game at this level. So whether or not that'll be separated out in the future and discussion about that, I'm not sure. I've heard discussion about it. It's never really come up in a serious way, studied by the league, but we'll see.
This team has multiple primetime games. What does it mean to you knowing that the league has so much faith that people want to watch this team?
I think that's a great question. So, our partners are the players. The media partners are our partners as well, because they obviously, just like everybody in this room, really is in a partnership with us. Because without you giving us your time today and the opportunity to speak to you on a daily basis, whether it be Raheem or Terry or whoever, we don't have a voice directly to the fan base. So I always say at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, we appreciate the job you all do for us and for our fan base. So I think it's important to recognize that our media partners, they've invested a lot in the NFL. Well over half of the revenue for the NFL comes from our media partners, and that distribution is, you're a relatively young man. Everyone in this room is a young man compared to me, but is changing. So the forms of distribution are changing pretty dramatically at very rapid rates. So we have to continue to find ways to make sure we put product, the NFL makes sure we put product out there that our fans really want to see. And they want to see competitive teams. They want to see, the personalities. They want to see, the right kinds of matchups. So the fact this year we've gone from a number of years, because of our record has not been, as Ken described a minute ago, not been what we wanted it to be, has not been the case. I think the fact we have 4 national games this year compared to none in the last 2 years at least, maybe 3 years, is a tribute to their feeling that we do have a much more competitive team this year. So I'm excited about that. I know they work hard at trying to put together the most competitive schedule they can be, so I appreciate the opportunity to show our team off on a national basis.
Anything else?
I was waiting for the end. The international market invites, Germany, is that in the team's future possible game?
Sure, yeah, that's one of the markets, is the market that we have one of the rights to, along with other teams, and we've got a pretty significant fan base in Germany. We made some efforts last year, both in the community relations commitment we made, as well as locally, and we played in London a couple of years ago to bring those fans to us. So we're definitely open to having a game in Germany in the future. This year, as you know, internationally, the league can have up to 8 games internationally. There'll be 5. There'll be 3 played in London, 1 in Germany, and 1 in Brazil. So we're excited about that, and the results internationally for the National Football League has been incredible. So we continue to look at that as being fertile grounds to grow our game. The response has been incredible, how quickly those tickets have sold and the media following we've had as well.
There was a survey by the NFLPA that I think 90% of players prefer grass over turf, and I'm curious in regards to Mercedes-Benz,
Yeah.
are there logistical issues, or is that something you considered at all of putting it down as you have for soccer games?
Yeah, we have not had, first of all, I read the same study. So the NFLPA, the union, and the NFL works collaboratively on coming up with the best fields for the players to play on. As all of our fans could appreciate, is that artificial surfaces are not all the same. They're different materials, different manufacturers, different forms of maintenance. But that's also true with grass fields. Grass fields are not all the same either. The important thing, the rate of injury, if you will, to 2002, 2003 is almost identical. In fact, it is identical. I mean, you couldn't find a percentage point difference between injury rates on grass versus artificial. So we'll continue to work closely with the players, with the NFLPA, and making sure that we have grass fields and artificial fields that meet all the standards to make sure player safety, which is always critical to us. Just like all these improvements in the building have nothing to do with me, it has to do with our players. It's the same thing with the playing surface. You want to make sure that we have a playing surface that they find acceptable. And, you know, we've had virtually no complaints on the Mercedes-Benz Stadium at all. And that field is constantly refurbished and replaced because of the use both for soccer and for American football. Standards for soccer are very high as well because the ball rolls there, obviously. So that surface has to really work and work consistently. So it does for both sports.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.